Hello ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for watching the show. This is your top intelligence agencies review, and I'm your host, Bryce Dolan. Now today on the show, we're going to look at 5 different top intelligence agencies and look at the top stories from each one of their websites. To begin our show today, according to the Department of Homeland Security, each year, Customs and Border Patrol officers and import specialists get to preview the latest holiday merchandise in June, when Customs and Border Patrol processes the first containers of decorations and toys for all ages at the nation's seaports and airports. Within the trillions of dollars of shipments destined for retail shelves around the nation, Customs and Border Patrol officers and import specialists are on the hunt for products that are unsafe or fake. Last year, Customs and Border Patrol recorded more than 28,000 seizures of products that violated intellectual property rights, worth an estimated $1.3 trillion in manufacturers' suggested retail price if the products had been genuine. Some may view counterfeit as a victimless crime, but it is destructive to our economy and in some cases is hazardous to the consumer. Counterfeits are often made of inferior materials, manufactured under uncontrolled and unsanitary conditions, and labeled with false information. As a result, they can threaten the health and safety of the people who buy them or receive them as a gift. Some concerning examples of counterfeit products that Customs and Border Patrol has seized include medication, makeup, power strip outlets, laundry detergent, and toys. This holiday season, you can protect you, your loved ones, and the economy by avoiding counterfeits and purchasing the genuine product. Now here are 5 tips that can help determine counterfeit products and genuine products. First, know what the genuine article looks like. Second, review labels and packaging. Third, check the price. Fourth, buy from reputable retailers. And finally, know commonly counterfeited items. Some of the most popular counterfeit products are pharmaceuticals, sports jerseys, personal care products, shoes, toys, headphones, luxury goods, and electronics. I encourage you to share these tips with your friends and family so they too can make informed decisions about the products they buy this holiday season. For more information about Customs and Border Patrol's efforts to protect intellectual property rights and other trade enforcement priorities, visit cbp.gov/trade. Now, this next article, in earlier segments, we've been talking about protecting your personal information, your financial information online. Well, next, the Secret Service has recommendations for protecting your personal computer, otherwise known as cyber hygiene reminders. First, maintain complex passwords. You should not use the same password for all your respective devices and accounts. Ensure your operating system is up to date. Operating systems are usually configured to automatically update or at least prompt you that updates are available. You should not disable this feature. The majority of updates are released due to some type of security issue, making it extremely important that you install the updates to ensure your computer has the latest protections known within the industry. Ensure Remote Desktop Protocol is disabled. Remote Desktop Protocol, or RDP software, allows you or others not physically at the keyboard to access your computer over a network or the internet. This is very useful in terms of remote servicing of the computer by an authorized technician. But this can also be exploited by hackers to take complete control of your computer and compromise your data. Install and update antivirus and anti-spyware software. Viruses and other malicious software programs can infect your personal computer without your knowledge. Ensuring that antivirus software from a reputable company is installed and set to update automatically will help protect your computer. Secure your internet browser and browser add-ons. Keep your browser set to auto-update and consider disabling JavaScript, Java, and ActiveX controls when they are not in use. Consider using a firewall. A firewall can help protect your computer from a variety of threats and is easy to use. For single computers, software firewalls are recommended and either come with your operating system or can be purchased. Set the firewall to the highest security level you think is appropriate, keeping in mind that you can always scale back the security if needed. Carefully scrutinize email attachments. It is good practice to never open or download an email attachment from someone you do not know or from someone that has rarely ever made contact with you. Password protect your Wi-Fi. Securing your wireless network with a strong password is essential. Using your last name or some other personally identifiable information to identify your home wireless network is inviting trouble. And last, back up your important data. Consider periodically backing up your important data. The important thing to remember is to store this data offline, meaning transferring your important files to a storage device that you detach from your computer after you have copied all of your files. Now, if you feel that you have been a victim of an internet scheme or to report any other cyber-related suspicious activity, contact the nearest local Secret Service field office or go to the link www.secretservice.gov/investigation/#field for a listing of all Secret Service electronic crimes task forces. So again, in earlier segments, we touched on protecting your information online. Now, these are some tips to just generally protect your personal computer. Now, according to the U.S. Army website, both the Army Secretary and the Sergeant Major of the Army said on the record, there must be a substantial change in the way soldiers think about behavioral health care. There needs to be a paradigm shift in how we look at behavioral health care, said Sergeant Major of the Army Daniel A. Daly. It needs to become common practice, an everyday event. Daly believes that across the force, seeking out such assistance must be as common and accepted as going to the dentist for a checkup or to see the doctor for an injury. Soldiers ought to value being squared away psychologically as much as they value being squared away physically. The Army aims to promote this attitude, Daly said, by making behavioral health assistance as common as medical health assistance. We screen all of our soldiers for all kinds of medical reasons, he said. One of those reasons should be behavioral health, and it should be a common practice. That way, we become accustomed to it as an acceptable thing to do. It is acceptable to ask for help.
Hello, I'm Sergeant Major of the Army Dan Daly. One of the greatest threats to our force is post-traumatic stress, depression, and other behavioral health related concerns. Army research shows that approximately 15% of operational Iraqi freedom veterans experience post-traumatic stress. Another 10 to 15% will experience some type of behavioral health problem. This is not something we can change, but it is something we can treat. I'm here today to urge everyone to break the silence and promote dialogue within your formations at home and in your communities. Seek help and take the first step in recovery and overall resiliency. If you think you need help, get it. If you know someone who needs help, reach out. Anonymous screening is available for soldiers, families, and government civilians 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and great resources can be found at www.militaryOneSource.mil and at 1-800-342-9647. Break the silence and help our Army remain the most ready and resilient fighting force in our nation's history. Army strong.
And what a great video there from the U.S. Army advocating for victims of post-traumatic stress disorder. Next, the U.S. Coast Guard reports that modern-day explorers from the Arctic nations of Canada, Denmark, Finland, Iceland, Sweden, Norway, Russia, and the United States are setting their sights north to map the seabed and establish sovereign rights to resources in an icy area that just over a decade ago was virtually inaccessible. Now, coastal nations have sovereign rights to ocean resources that extend 300 miles past the country's coastline. Now, under the law of the Sea Treaty, coastal nations may also claim resources discovered if the extended continental shelf, or the ECS, of the nation extends past the 300-mile exclusive economic zone. The convention allows the opportunity for a coastal state to extend sovereign rights over its resources of the sea floor and sub-sea floor far beyond what every coastal state is entitled to, said Dr. Larry Mayer, director of the Center for Coastal and Ocean Mapping. The Law of the Sea Convention is basically a constitution for the oceans. In one article, just 617 words allow the redefinition of the continental shelf, which allows a coastal nation sovereign rights of the seabed. So essentially, ladies and gentlemen, the border of countries end 300 miles out into the ocean. What this is saying is if the extended continental shelf below all of the water in the ocean on the seabed extends past that 300 miles, and there's resources on that seabed, that country can lay claim to those resources and go past that 300-mile exclusive economic zone. So, pretty interesting. I had no idea that was even a thing. Like they said, the best way they could explain it is a sort of constitution for the oceans. So, as global warming and climate change continue, and these icy areas up north continue to melt away, we might see more and more of this extended continental shelf resource sovereignty come about. So we'll keep an eye and see if there's any more explorations like this to come. Now, in 2009, to end the show, Kenneth Apple was a trusted U.S. Department of State. He was a trusted employee of the U.S. Department of State, and he was supposed to be working in Iraq to help the Iraqi people rebuild their country after years of war. Instead, Apple decided to help himself and his son, part of a U.S.-led provincial reconstruction team consisting of military personnel, diplomats, and agriculture experts like himself. Apple had oversight of multi-million-dollar contracts for a variety of projects designed to stabilize Iraq's infrastructure and improve its economy. Apple used his authority to illegally steer $2 million in contracts for micro dairies to a shell company located in Montana, in which his son owned a 50% interest, and the company had no experience in the micro dairy field. Now, micro dairies are essentially small, mobile dairy farms, and they can even be used in the desert on a slab of concrete. Housed inside a storage container is equipment that can process milk into cheese and yogurt. The idea was to provide food and create jobs for the Iraqi people. Apple had the ability to influence the awarding of contracts, said Special Agent Jeff Polak, one of the agents who investigated the case from the FBI's Washington field office. He wanted to funnel money to his son. The opportunity was right in front of him, and he took it. During the contract application process, Apple illegally passed critical and confidential U.S. government information to his son, Jonathan Apple, and his son's partner who owned Extreme Global Logistics Solutions. The company, in turn, provided false information to U.S. government officials about its experience and capabilities. After the contracts were awarded, Jonathan Apple earned approximately $230,000 in profit, even though the dairy devices were never able to be commercially used. Special Agent Josh Lovett noted that one of the worst aspects of the case was that the micro dairies could have benefited the Iraqi people. There was actually a company in Iraq that could have done this work, Lovett said, and this contract could have helped them, but it never happened because of the fraud. So essentially, ladies and gentlemen, what this is a huge white-collar crime case in the military and in the government. So I'm glad they figured out that this fraudulent scam was going on and that this father-son duo was working together to gain upwards of hundreds of thousands of dollars. Luckily, they were discovered and prosecuted for it, But unfortunately, those micro dairies never got to the Iraqi people. So hopefully, even though this was a fraudulent case and an unsuccessful attempt to help Iraq, hopefully we'll make a similar attempt like this again, because these micro dairies could be huge, not only providing food, milk, yogurt, cheese, all of that, but also providing jobs. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that does it for the show today. I want to thank you for watching. If you want to go to any of these articles and read them in their entirety and look through them, you can find the links to the articles directly below in the description. If you click on the links, it'll take you directly to that article on their respective websites. I want to thank you for watching the show. When you do that, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel so you get notified every time a new video is posted. Give us a like on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. But that does it for the show, ladies and gentlemen. I was your host, Bryce Dolan.